if this guy wasn't a puncher, you'd just think Dalton was too sharp at this stage in his career. But Dalton has been hit quite a bit consistently, even in these other fights. And he's got to be razor sharp on Saturday night, because this is well beyond the levels that he's boxed.
So what do you do, though, with Dalton after? Say everything goes well and Dalton gets the win. What's the plan for Dalton? Because he'll have that belt, the WBC silver belt. What is the plan after?
One of the reasons that we took that belt into consideration was because of the likelihood of it freeing up in the next 6 months. You know, the winner of Haney Garcia has to fight Sandor Martin. It's not a fight that those guys really want. It's not going to give you a big payday. It's horrible, it's awkward. But Dalton Smith would jump at a fight with Sandor Martin for the WBC title. This fight's going to put you definitely in the top 5. Could it put you number 3? Could it put you number 2? You've got Richardson Hitchens. He's in a final eliminator for the IBF. You know, if he's out of the way, you could find yourself fighting Sandor Martin for the WBC World 140-pound title. Dalton Smith, I believe, beats Sandor Martin. Styles make fights. He's very good, Sandor. He's very tricky, but I just fancy that fight for Dalton Smith. You imagine getting a piece of that division with Teofimo, with Devin, with Ryan, with Tank, with all those guys. Like, it's the best division in boxing right now, the 140s. And we've got loads of them. Subriel Matias, you know, might be the best of all of them. So this is a massive fight for Dalton. And, well, one of the reasons I like it, and in a smaller way, it's a little bit like, you know, Campbell Hatton, where you've had your apprenticeship, and now we're going to find out. What we're finding out about Campbell is whether he's ready to step up and go to English titles, and what we're finding about Dalton is whether he's world class. And that's where it gets exciting. You know, someone, I won't say who, but someone messaged me saying, I'm a bit worried about this fight. It's a really tough fight for Dalton. And Mark just replied, good. Like, what do we want? I don't understand. You know, we've got to really get away from this mentality of, oh, it's a dangerous fight. Yes, dangerous fight equals exciting. Dangerous fight equals bums on seats. Dangerous fights means tuning into the zone and being excited for the ring walks when they step into the ring. Not, oh, we know the result. And no fight on this undercard is a formality. You know, there's an argument that all of them are 50-50s, and I guarantee you the home corner will not win all fights on Saturday night.
Eddie, you're talking about world titles and Sandor Martin, but we know Dalton wanted to fight for that European title, which Adam Azim won. What are your thoughts on the current situation? Yeah. We know the purse bids are coming up soon too. Yeah,
we've already been told by Boxer that Adam Azim is not fighting Dalton Smith next. I mean, I don't know what they're hanging around for and wasting their time. It's going to start getting really embarrassing, especially if Dalton wins on Saturday and that question comes up, because then the world's watching and then you've got to pull out after that. So I probably expect him to pull out before Saturday. But if we win on Saturday, we're miles ahead of Adam Azim, but we'd still take a step back and fight him because it's a big fight. You know, it's a big domestic fight. Adam Azim is a great talent, but I think if Dalton beats Zepeda, they just won't want to fight him yet in his career. By the way, that's no criticism. I think they're doing the right thing because I think he gets beat by Dalton Smith, and in time he's going to improve, and he's still learning. But if you talk it up and you tell him you're ready for Keyshawn Davis and Dalton Smith and all these guys, then you've got to walk the walk. But as we know in boxing, you know, there's a lot of waffle, and they're just not ready for Dalton Smith. If he wins, listen, he might scrape a decision, he might get dropped, they might see a weakness in Dalton Smith, but if he comes through in style on Saturday night, there is no way Adam Azim will go anywhere near Dalton Smith next, because it would be a disaster for him, because he's going to build nicely, you know. But both these guys, like, Dalton's never boxed anywhere near the levels of Jose Zepeda. Adam Azim has never boxed anywhere near the levels of Jose Zepeda. They wouldn't fight Jose Zepeda, Adam Azim, because he gets hit a lot as well. So that's when it's dangerous. You cannot get hit against Jose Zepeda. I'm telling you, it's going to put a big dent in.
Eddie, when you look at the fights you've been making with Frank Warren and Queensberry, the fights that the fans want to see, how does that transcend to you, making fights in-house, great fights that the fans want to see, like Sandy Ryan against Terry Harper?
Yeah, I don't like it because it's like, you know, Boxing News asked me the question earlier where it's like your predictor for the night, and all of a sudden they go Sandy Ryan against Terry Harper. It's like, you know, you're always going to upset someone. Someone's going to think you favoured someone. You're in the changing room before the fight longer. You clapped once in the fight, or when you spoke in the post-fight interview, you look really happy. Like, you can't win. For this, it's just two great ambassadors for female boxing who are rolling the dice to move on to the bigger mega nights in boxing.
Who do you think is favourite in that fight?
I mean, there's so many ways to break it down. I think on paper, because of Sandy's performance against McCaskill, where I feel like she was robbed in that fight,
definitely.
because of the momentum that she has, you could argue she's favourite. At the same time, Terry's been in much deeper experiences over championship level. I think coming down to 147 will really suit her. I like the way she spoke. That's the first time I've ever heard her engage in back and forth and not look, she's never going to come out and start banging the table.
She held her own.
Didn't look nervous.
She held her own.
Didn't look nervous. And she's always been quite a nervous person. She talked about the work that she feels she's done mentally in this camp. And I feel like she's going to leave that press. Sandy won't care. Sandy's like dialed in, switched on. She won't care what's said up there. But for Terry, will take confidence from that exchange. I know it might be irrelevant on the night, but if you do have frailties mentally, and all of a sudden you've overcome that, and all of a sudden you start believing in yourself a little bit more, I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think that I presume that Terry is going to try and mix it up in and out of range. Get in there, do her work, get off, get on her bike again. A little bit like she did against Hannah Rankin, because Hannah Rankin was so much bigger. And Sandy, presumably, will be walking her down, trying to stop her. A lot of people, I think, when they fight Terry Harper, look at the Baumgardner fight and think that there are frailties, about her durability and her ability to take shots. I'm not so sure.
I think that was weight related, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But, I think that when you get stopped like that, sometimes if you are a little bit frail mentally, it can take longer to overcome. It sounds like she's in a great place. And for Sandy, Terry's right. You leave your team, you leave your manager, you leave your trainer, you go to a new camp. Does it all click on the first fight? That are you better? Are you worse? I don't know. I mean, it's a big move to leave home and go and train in Vegas for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
She might be twice as good. But
I'm unsure about if it's a good time to fight her or not. You look at Sandy when she lost to Erica Farias and then revenges that straight after. You think, well, hold on a minute. So yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued by this one. I'm with you. I think it's a real 50-50.
Do you expect Sandy to walk her down
That's
continuously?
The thing with me. I feel Terry may have more strings to her bow. She can adapt. Well, I agree. I think Sandy 100% centre of the ring and try and walk Terry down, whereas I think Terry can do a bit of both.
I mean, when she did that against Farias, she come unstuck a little bit because Farias did that and then boxed and moved. And I think Terry will be looking at fights like that. Actually, in the rematch of that fight, Sandy Ryan did the opposite, where she stood in the pocket briefly, then moved, boxed her off the back foot. I think that's what Terry has to do. But I think it'll be a great fight. I think a very, very, very close fight.
And just what you said there about strings to your bow, I think we'll see more of Terry's natural ability and assets coming through at 147. I don't think she should have been at 154.
I see an interview with Terry saying this is the weight when she was coming down that she felt best at, in the gym, sparring, etc. And I sometimes think there's something in that. There's this big thing, you've got to be big at the weight, and you take a lot of your attributes away by boiling down to the weight. So I think if she's at her ideal optimum weight,
Mad to think that, I mean, when she's at 154 and she has to really eat her way up there to even weigh 154, she's 24 pounds above
difference.
her first world championship weight.
Crazy.
This time even 17 pounds. You said to her now, you've got to get down to 140. It would be a mission, but at 147, I mean, really, Sandy is arguably a 140 as well, but a big, big 140. So I think 140 is actually the perfect weight for Terry, but 147 going to feel a lot sharper on her feet, because I think sometimes you look at fighters like Mayer, who have come up the weights, even Terry at 154, just sometimes look a little bit sluggish. And I think she'll have that little bit extra sharpness down at 147 or 145 or whatever she'll be on Friday.
We know one thing that is good, lads. We're all going to find out on Saturday right here on DAZN. As I keep saying, the action does not stop here in Sheffield this weekend. What about this fight? April 20th, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia.